Chapter 82. Waiting. The others streamed out of Valerius's rooms, except for Jahara and Shioni, who lingered in the doorway, intent on drawing Jahara after her. But Jahara ignored the hint. She stood there, smiling slightly and looking meaningfully at Valerius. Caden pinched the top of his nose as Valerius simply crossed his arms over his chest and glared at her. "Do you think you are somehow exempt from the description everyone except Caden leave?" Valerius asked meaningfully.
"I wanted to make sure that you understood my proposal fully before meeting with the others,"
Jahara explained simply. She continued to be calm and composed, despite Valerius looking like a volcano about to blow.
"I can explain it to him, Jahara,"
Caden offered as he maneuvered himself between Valerius and Jahara.
"Though you are open to my plans, you do not believe in them fully, Caden, as I do. So I must make my own case,"
she answered with a soft smile. "Make it exceedingly brief, then." Valerius put his hands on Caden's shoulders as he moved up behind him. Those hands massaged him, and Caden nearly purred. Shioni took out her tablet and stylus to take notes, but Caden knew there was no need. Jahara tented her fingers beneath her chin, her gaze going distant as she marshaled her thoughts before she spoke.
"I believe a war is coming on many fronts. These wayward faithful, groups like Humans First and others of its ilk, even wars between us if we keep separate territories. We cannot defend the entirety of the world, Valerius, but we can protect a part of it. My suggestion is that we form a singular shifter territory free of humans, while the rest of the world is free of shifters. Each area is governed by their own. Each area need not worry about the other except at the highest levels of power. With our combined strength and know-how, humanity, even the zealous, will not be able to reach us. Many who feel the desire now to oppose us will no longer feel a need to, because they will no longer be competing with us for scarce resources, while those who want to help us in destructive ways will similarly not feel that urge, as they will see a thriving community that needs no assistance. That is my proposal."
Caden had never fully understood the phrase. The silence in the room was deafening until that moment. Shioni was frozen over her tablet, her stylus having gone still. Her expression was shielded from him by her long dark tresses. He turned to look over his shoulder at Valerius to glimpse the Black Dragon King's expression. But while he saw Valerius's face well enough, there was no expression there to read. No scoffing, but no interest either. "That is an idea, Jahara," Valerius finally said with no inflection in his voice.
"You disagree?"
She lifted a delicate eyebrow. "I would never dismiss any of your ideas out of hand. I admit this one does not seem feasible or attractive to me, but I need to think about it and give you more than a simple gut reaction," Valerius answered. Shioni's head lifted and her expression was visible. She was proud of him. Caden was similarly proud, but baffled by Valerius's mild response. Did it mean that he thought Jahara's idea had merit? Was he contemplating a mass exodus of shifters to Africa, or maybe a larger parcel of the world? Or was it simply so unworkable that he didn't want to offend Jahara by simply laughing? Jahara gave him a slight bow.
"That is all I ask. I will see you both at dinner. And Caden?"
"Yeah?"
"I have to say that whatever I expected of you, well, it is nice to be proven wrong. Perhaps the world has jaded me a little, but you are a breath of fresh air,"
she told him. Caden stood up taller, knowing this was a rare compliment.
"I have to admit that you are as wonderful as all the media made you seem."
She laughed delightedly.
"And you're charming, too. What a combination."
She then turned and joined Shioni by the doorway. Shioni had tucked her tablet underneath her right arm and smiled broadly at Jahara. She placed one hand on Jahara's lower back before escorting the Dragon Queen out of the room. When the doors were closed behind them, Caden slipped from Valerius's arms and went over and locked them before sagging against the solid wood.
Can we just hide in here? Like, not go out again, except for food and stuff? Because I really don't think it's safe out there.
Caden told Valerius with a weak laugh. Valerius stuffed his hands into his pockets and sauntered over to Caden with an understanding look on his face. Ah, the burdens of leadership.
You mean of yelling real loudly at May and Delarian? Or arguing with my parents? Or maybe hearing from a person like Jahara, who is clearly smart and sensible, that she thinks we are better off leaving the world and humanity to its own devices?
Caden's arms lifted heavensward with each question. He slumped back against the doors once more and ran his hands through his hair until he was sure it was sticking up on end. Iolaire was sitting cat-like loaf inside of him, wide awake and fully engaged, but with no wisdom to offer.
Iolaire is all interested, at least.
I know things seem dire. Valerius began.
Steam?
Caden cried. Seem, Valerius confirmed. But I hate to tell you this. Things often seem dire when one is in charge, because what comes next sometimes hinges on the leader's decisions.
You know, if you had asked me a year ago, hell, maybe even only a month ago, I would have thought that if I was in charge, that I would have all these ideas, and that I would just implement them, no problem.
Caden made a sweeping gesture with his right arm.
I would have no doubts, none. Now, I have the chance to make real change, and I am like, hell no, don't trust me, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Believe it or not, Shione would say that the latter shows wisdom, and that because you do not think yourself worthy of ruling, that you are more likely to actually do so than someone who does, Valerius told him. Caden scrubbed his face.
You know, I really hoped that when all the dragon shifters got here, that things would be better, easier, clearer, that all these great minds coming together would have answers. But the answers are...
Worse than the problems? Yes, I feel the same way. Which is why we need some time away from both problems and answers. Valerius curled an arm around his shoulders and led him over towards the staircase that ran along the curve of the wall. Caden had expected Valerius to take him to the couches by the fireplace, but they climbed the stairs until they reached the platform with the shower and tub.
Are we getting ready for dinner already? I thought maybe we could hang by the fire and...
I'm going to make love to you. In order to comply with YouTube community guidelines, the next section of the podcast has been abridged. To get the full version, either subscribe to Wraith Rain as a member, or buy the audiobook from the Wraith Rain shop.